Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is Raventhorn, and today we're actually going to be doing something that I've been planning on working on. I saw several requests, and I wanted to uh, do something a little different than what my normal playthroughs are, where I'm actually going to go through each faction and make a video of how to start and how to play the faction to get started. Because sometimes if you make the wrong sort of moves uh, in early beginning, it kind of screws up your rest of your gameplay. And a big thing is that it's the SFO mod, which can sort of challenge newcomers to just the mod itself. But this is also going to be for new players especially. Now, if you have tips and tricks on how best to utilize other things that you as veterans may see, please leave the comment section below, because that way we can help out more people enjoy this game and enjoy this great mod. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be playing with Karl Franz on the Empire, just as the first ever video, and then I'll do a High Elf and Dark Elf video, just because those I believe are kind of like a really good starting basis for a lot of folks. And then I'll continue on with each other faction. Alright, so we've had a little bit of a skip of the intro video, where it basically just goes over your... If you've already played Total War games before, you're kind of used to those intro videos for factions. Essentially, it tells you where you can expand, how things go, and some people might be asking, why am I starting with the Empire? Because it's such an older faction. It's actually from the first game. Well, the reason why we're doing the Empire first is because of the recent update with Imperial Authority. What Imperial Authority, as you can see here, you acquire prestige through noble actions such as expansion, victory in battle, and constructing grand buildings. You use this prestige, increasing your Imperial Authority by just continuing on. As you get less Imperial Authority, you take more. So, as you can see here, a -10 equals Civil War. All elector counts declare war on you. You've been such a bad emperor that they just can't have you anymore. But you get good Imperial Authority, and you have increased the chance, plus leadership growth, recruitment costs, the whole shebang. So, without going too much more into really hardcore details, I'm going to basically do a playthrough and kind of talk you through how to start off the game and how the Empire as a faction works, especially with Karl Franz. If you like this video, please like and subscribe down below. It lets me know how well I'm doing, and it'll continue to motivate me to make more videos, especially with this how-to series that I'm going to be starting. My plan is to do all the factions at some point, and if people request it enough, I can then do the other lords of just of a quick video. This is not going to be a series of just Karl Franz. It's actually going to be more of this is a 20-minute start of a video. I'll have one little small battle shown, how your basic tactics will work, as well as how to set up your provinces, how best to utilize the Empire as a whole. The ultimate game, though, is to be played by you. So, without saying anything more, really, let's get into Karl Franz. We can see that we have a mission to defeat this army over here, which is over here on the right side here, next to Grunberg. Now, this is a little different, as some people will see that the Empire actually starts very, very fragmented. In other playthroughs, the Empire starts united, and what I mean by united is these 4 provinces here. But as the Emperor, you actually have to unite them themselves. So, the big thing is that the Empire is motivated by its people's belief in their Emperor. So, you have humanity as the truest quintessential humanity. That's what the Empire is. So you have technology, you have faith, you have might of arms. and you're going to be able to mix and match all of that into your army any way you want to. You can actually have several different types of armies all going at the same time, and economy is a really big thing with them. And as a good faction, you will want to pay attention to trade resources. Not a really big thing with evil factions a lot of times because they don't get a lot of trade. We will go ahead and just start upgrading because you can see we can't really do anything else more. We do start with, this is the Imperial Foot Reichsguard. That is a thing from SFO, but these are a very, very sweet addition. And then you have just normal Reichsguard. So we're probably going to do this as a quick battle,
war calls.
And I'll decide if I should use this one as the battle or not. Okay, battle is loaded. Let me just set up a timer here. What I'm wanting to do is probably like record a little bit more and then condense it down to the proper time-wise, because I want it to be about 20 minutes roughly for it. I don't want to make this a big playthrough like I do for my other videos. This is really just to showcase the armies, the tactics you can use.
Crossbows ready, General.
Alright, so a really big thing with the Empire is that you have a mix of guns and traditional armies with crossbows and such, and then you have spearmen, or as they call them, pikemen, knights with heavy armor, but you can see grenades, steam tanks, so you can really get a customized army. That is the strength of the Empire, is its flexibility to meet any foe in battle. And then you're going to have Karl Franz, which is just a beast of a unit or character, because he is meant to be the Emperor of Man. So, let's see, we got a very strong right flank here. And I'm just going to do the very traditional, just how this starts off right here. You can see cavalry on the flanks here, and let's just go forward.
To me, men!
Now, when you have guns, you always want to make sure that you have a very clear line of sight, because crossbows, while it's not a big thing, for them, they can shoot right over a hill or over your troops or anything like that. But your handgunners, they need to have a very clear line of sight to be able to fire off. And let's actually, you want to try and pick off the other army's missile units. As you can see here, they have very little missile. Send your cavalry over to the flanks. That's a very typical formation. Use formations to your advantage, but be smart about it.
Ready, my lord.
We're probably going to get one volley off here, and then we're going to fall back. Yeah, let's go ahead and fall back with our handgunners.
To battle! For the Emperor! For the Emperor! Reichsguard Knights! Sigma
You can use cavalry as a big thing for distracting the enemy army.
On them. Formation, march!
And then just try and engage in multiple fronts.
Await your orders. Keep Casper back. For the Emperor! Soldiers
To just try and take advantage of flanking.
To battle!
Now, one thing that you want to do is you want to avoid piling up your armies. What I mean by that is, instead of just telling your entire line to charge forward at this pikeman unit, go ahead, spend the extra time to get your units into an actual proper flanking position and get a good charge on them. Because if you get into a melee or a scrum battle, it doesn't do anything for you. You want to tie up any anti-cavalry units with actual swords or axe or mace infantry, because they will do better with it against them, because the pikes are really meant to be anti-cav. Now, I might be repeating things that you already know about, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing it.
Karl Franz! Crossbowmen! State troops ready!
Let's actually move these over here. I wanted to showcase a little bit more. That's what I mean by just right-clicking and just attacking. Is it gets into just such a melee that you're not utilizing the unit. And pay attention to your widths and lengths.
Don't stop until they're all dead! Gunners!
Because widths and lengths of your units can really affect how a unit charges and maneuvers around the battlefield.
Fire!
And like that, we have a victory. So, every time you have a victory, you're going to get a little bit of money, and then you have three choices. You can either pardon captives, execute captives, or take on captives. Take on captives, you're going to get your units replenished a little bit. Execute, you're going to get killed captives for 5 turns for leadership +4 for the army. Your starting units, that's actually extremely useful because their leadership is so low. Do we need it right now? Not necessarily. And then you have pardon captives, which for 1 turn, you take casualty replenishment rate -5% and treasury 445. Now that's for this particular battle. For other battles, it might be more money. It might be worth it to you, but that casualty replenishment rate might go up as well. It's basically it's saying the electric counts don't like that. We also got a free banner, so we'll put that on these guys just because. And we will take on captives because we know that we're going to have a battle relatively quickly right after this. I might show that battle, I might not. I don't want to bog this video down with just straight battles. But if I see a point where I can showcase a better tactic, then I will.
Any intention of securing a prestigious act in
Alright, every time you level up, your hero is going to get a set of skill points to be able to use in different routes. And if you've seen my videos before, I do favor the blue line for starting off, red line to buff up your heroes and your units, and then you have what's called the yellow line, which is the actual lords, I should be saying lords, but I just call it hero, lord or hero's actual own fighting ability. This is good for people that you know you're going to send into combat and you want them to be able to handle themselves. So that's a pretty good thing. Again, I do highly recommend the blue line at least 1 time, especially because we get 2 skill points per level with SFO from levels 1 through 5. Go ahead and grab it. 10% extra movement range. You do not ever want to be caught out where you don't have just that itty bit of a step to be able to catch your enemy. And then you can grab the red line, which then unlocks all this. I'll leave that up to you guys. I'll just go ahead and place it on hard to hit. I usually don't do that, but again, the ultimate gameplay is going to be up to you. This is just how you can. Alright, so you can't really see it because of my picture here, but you have several different technology trees you can go down, and each one has a different speciality. You have infantry, cavalry, firing drills, mass reduction, small arms, assembly line for the Imperial colleges, which is pretty much money, research rate, and it can get into politics a little bit. Where is it seeing that? Yeah, tribute from vassals and things like that. So it's pretty decent, and then you have trade and industry. That's all good. All of these things are good, and I always recommend you really diving more in depth with it. One thing I want to point out, with the Empire, go ahead and start moving towards volley fire. It's a highly effective thing, especially for crossbows, because there's a dramatic difference in how fast they shoot. It's just a really good thing to, if you don't know what you should be going towards, go ahead and grab it. It's 20 turns, yeah, I get it, but it's going to be that much for anything else. But is there anything that you desperately need more? not necessarily. So, you can always switch. You can always switch. No problem.
Who calls?
Because you cannot reach this town in the first turn, go ahead and take a step back.
Make haste, men.
Get the replenishment rate, and go ahead and recruit some more units. Here's another nice thing that they introduced. Electric count state troops. Well, this is how you get specialized units from the other provinces of the Empire, because each province is actually a separate entity by itself, and they have their own specializations. Like you can see here, the Stubborn Bulls, which would be from Ostwald, I think. But you have the Teuton Guard, which is from Middenland. Anyways, you can explore that, but I wanted to at least point it out. You have Regiments of Renown, which you have to get to level 10 to unlock, or at least start them. And then, of course, you have your local stuff. I am going to grab another Swordsman and an Archer unit, just for some additional... Let's get another Swordsman. Alright, so we have our first political influence that's going on here. They added Marienburg. Marienburg has not been part of the Empire since this 24-29. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But you can either guarantee their independence, which you get 3,000 gold, they want to pay you, or you can tell them, no, Marienburg will return to the Empire, which Marienburg is extremely good to own. So,
empire
might
is
as well.
A beacon of civil.
And Nordland, which is our northern province way up there, agrees with us that they should return to the Empire.
Is it time?
Okay, so let's do this quick battle right here.
Ulrich's will. Men, I will fight with you.
Okay, we can actually just auto-resolve this. I won't. Now, auto-resolve, to explain auto-resolve a little bit, is that its first thing is what unit can do what kind of damage. So if you have missile troops, that means the missile troops are going to do their damage first, then melee units. It's just, that's how it always works. And don't ask me to explain where they calculate everything else, because I don't really know. I'm just telling you that missile troops get to do their damage first. That the computer's it's just pure numbers to them. No tactics, no nothing. Alright, so mission successful, Imperial Authority +1, so you start moving. Now you want to start balancing your public order and buildings. So each province is going to either have different ways you can build, but especially with, let's say, this province here, it has the extra resource called pastures, which is pretty much a bonus to cavalry when you recruit them in this. I'm sorry, this is the province, this is just a settlement. So when you recruit in this province, if you have this building built up, then you get, as you can see, casualty replenishment rate, upkeep -3%, and a recruit rank for when you recruit here, not all worldwide.
The nation calls.
Okay. Again, this is where you start specializing your hero, things like that. I may take 2 seconds to skip ahead, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So now I haven't gone very far since we just last talked, but I wanted to point out this is politics will be very important to the Empire, a little bit more so than other factions that you can do, like, you know, Greenskins or Dark Elves, things like that. Politics is always going to be important, but not necessarily on the scale of the Empire when you're first starting out, because you have so many provinces. It's important that you get on good relations with some. Choose your battles wisely with who you side with who. But you want to start getting trade just to boost up your income per turn. That's all I wanted to point out. And then it's up to you to choose, do you want to give them non-aggression?
Right.
Sometimes they'll give it to you. And then sometimes, let's say, Middenland, are you going to be nice?
Come in peace.
Fine.
Yeah, they're going to play nice today. You can always change. Welcome back. So we're actually into the final battle of reuniting our province. I'm going to use this battle right here as to do a small snippet of just base army tactics for the Empire. I'm not going to really be using Franz or his knights or anything like that. I mean, we saw what we can do with knights: distract the enemy archers, pull the enemy away from their main battle line, and then hit them in the flanks or the rear with rear charges, especially with the powerful Reichsguard. But here I want to kind of showcase a little bit of just the basic units of the Empire, which is, to me, spearmen with shields, swordsmen, crossbows, and handgunners. You can argue that there are halberds. There's the halberds. That's a very huge part of it, but we're just kind of talking about the base units because this, again, is more for new players who want to come and play with this. You're going to have access to those units a lot quicker than you will get access to halberds, which require you to build an armory. Anyways, so like I said, we have these people here back in our reserve, but I put what I consider a good strong battle line with 3 swordsman units. Flankers out here with the spears that would basically be able to repel most cavalry on the flanks. Our enemy doesn't have any cavalry. They actually matches pretty well in numbers, so it should be a good, decent battle. And keep in mind, again, terrain and line of sight, especially with handgunners. We might actually have to call Franz up because they do have a... Oh no, that's just a swordsman unit.
Moving faster.
So let's say you don't have a actual fighting hero. You can use your hero's just influence ability to give people boost in leadership. Alright, so nice rolling hills. We have a great position here. And go ahead and let the handgunner shoot kind of whatever you'd want. But have your crossbows kind of do some anti-crossbow firing line. Don't forget that you can also put your range units on toggle skirmish mode, but you want to be careful with that because the AI tends to know how to exploit that. So go ahead and you can pull back your line when they get too close. You don't want to get don't leave it till too much longer than that point right there, because to go through the line takes a little bit of time, and you just don't want to get caught, kind of like how I get caught right here. Alright, so they just managed to pull through. They're not caught or anything like that.
Formation.
Again, you can have your crossbows kind of open fire there. And then I wanted to showcase really what I meant by watch your units width and positioning. So right here, I can squeeze through with that big of a unit.
Take position.
However, if I had left them in their original position, they would not been able to fit. So now we're going to go ahead and reposition our unit with a different width. Now they're nice and lined up here, and now they can just fire point blank into the enemy, into their flank. And you can kind of watch them die.
Loaded, sir! The Empire endures! Yes, sir!
Really watch those crossbows. A really good way to avoid what I just did there is to put your archers on guard mode, which means that they will not pursue fleeing enemies. Here's another good tip. Go ahead and have your units on a flank, if you can, if you know that there's a safe way, and shoot far to the opposite flank. Okay, again, go ahead and maneuver your unit so that they are in a proper line, and then go ahead and charge. It gets them into a mass, it gets them a little bit more of a charge, and it just is a little bit better for you. Okay, now we don't want to be shooting it too much into our people, so we're going to go ahead and change targets. Alright, so see what I mean right here? I can go ahead and adjust the width. That'll pull this unit out of melee with this unit here on the flank. I can then pull through, readjust, Now what happens here is these units are actually going to know that that unit is there, and they're going to start getting a morale debuff because of exposed flank. These units are going to break right here, so we actually need to help out our spearmen on our flank there. So just go ahead. You don't have to. You
By all
can have your other units
Crossbowmen!
pursue them there, and then see that. Look at that debuff.
Yes, sir!
Go ahead and charge them on into the flank. Too often do I see other players doing a playthrough where they've already adjusted their line for a good proper battle line. However, when they're maneuvering around the battlefield, they just right click, send them in. They don't adjust that line, so they actually get caught very, very quickly, just getting sucked into a melee, and you have to spend precious time pulling them out of that. So this is supposed to help you. Alright, so Decisive Victory. We have a nice little bit of a reward. And then we're occupying this. Now this is why I was pausing to really showcase why am I playing this now, because we did take that little time skip. When you secure a province, the province of Reichland, you're going to be able to do a commandment, which if you've played Total War before, then you're going to be very familiar with it. You have different abilities you can do with the province, and they're province-wide. So you can use to get upkeep, so own armies faction-wide, that's really good. But any armies that you're inside, if I have France here, they're going to take minus 10% movement. But we increase local recruitment capacity. You have Council of Burgermeisters. Go ahead and at this point pause anytime I'm hovering over this just so you can really read into it. But each one should either have pluses and minuses or just pluses, but not necessarily a huge plus for everything else. This one, Untainted +3, hero action success chance. If you're getting bugged by a bunch of goblin heroes or something like that, that's a good one to pop. Or Host Festag, which is a tax rate +2%, public order +4. So this might actually be really good for us. We'll go ahead and put this on. You guys can definitely make your own judgments and plays with that. I didn't do this battle because I'm not really playing this to play the faction. I'm showing you how you can make a good start and how you can secure your province and make that first step into your empire. So, without doing very much else, we have all 4 settlements secured underneath the flag of the Empire. You will have to pay attention that there is still a rebel faction here at Helmgart. That is a fort battle. We'll probably do those later on, or if you wish, go ahead and watch my Kimmler playthrough. And he is taking a fort, and you can see what the battles look like then there. Other than that, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Always appreciate seeing comments as well too, letting me know, what you like, what would you want changed. Maybe you have a different Empire Lord you'd want me to play and show you how to get started. But like I said, my next plan is to do Dark Elves and High Elves as a good basis for factions, mixing the new stuff with the Empire that just happened, as well as a good starting faction for the new races. And then Dark Elves I see as a they have a lot of fine-tuning, and people need to know that how to use them, especially with the new update with the Black Arcs. So anyways, I will leave you here, and then don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want, you can click on my other 2 playlists that will show up here and here. And have a great day.